2024 was a lot of firsts for me. If you haven't, I guess you could potentially go back and watch my video I made before the start of the year on the 2024 backlog, the games that I was going to play this year, am playing currently, am going to play. You can watch that and see all the video games that I talk about that I want to play that I haven't yet played, and a lot of them are bangers that I probably should have played years and years and years ago. Today being one of those bangers, Red Dead Redemption. I remember when Red Dead came out, and it was huge. Everybody was talking about it. Like, it was Rockstar. Rockstar has done the GTA games, and everybody loved those. Red Dead Redemption is actually a sequel to their first game, which I hadn't really heard of, especially back then, called Red Dead Revolver, which apparently was pretty popular. I haven't played it. Maybe someday I'll go back and play it. But regardless, when Red Dead came out, everybody was talking about it. The game sold stupidly well. By 2017, it had sold 15 million copies. Granted, that was 7 years after its release. It was released back in 2010, made by Rockstar San Diego, published by Rockstar Games, and it was huge. So it's sold tons and tons of stuff. There's been a recent announcement that it's going to come to PC, which people have been waiting forever. But I never played Red Dead back in the day. The most Red Dead I played is I would watch my cousins play, and I played a little bit of the Undead Nightmare. There's like a survival mode in there that I played a little bit with one of my cousins back in the day, but that was it. Like I hadn't really played it. I never bought the game. I had a 360. I still have a 360, but I never bought it back then, and I don't really know why. Maybe because in my head it was like, oh, Rockstar, GTA. I didn't really like the GTA games. I hadn't really played them either. Like, it was mostly just secondhand me watching people play, mostly my cousins and Thane, and Red Dead was one of those. I decided that this year I wanted to go through and play some of these gaming 10 out of 10s, games that are held to high regard in the gaming community, Red Dead being one of them. I mean, it had reviewed extremely well by both critics and fans. Its users, they love it. I've only ever heard good things about Red Dead Redemption. It got nominated for so many awards. It ended up winning Game of the Year in 2010. So this is a big game, humongous game, and it came out 14 years ago. So I decided that I was finally going to jump in. And like I said, prior to playing the game, my Red Dead experience, playing a little bit of the Undead Nightmare, and then an early video on the RadKatz channel, one of my cousins actually played, and he went through, and all I remember is he went and did the Bigfoot side quest where he shot all the Bigfoot, and it's kind of sad. But anyway, so yeah, I decided to jump into Red Dead Redemption. Now, I learned this while trying to play the game. I have a Series X, and I also have a copy of Red Dead Redemption, but it is the, I don't know if it's the Game of the Year. Let me see if I got it. It is. I have the Red Dead Redemption Game of the Year edition for the Xbox 360, which is not, I repeat, is not compatible with the Series X. The original version is. I don't know what the difference is, to be completely honest. It's not something I ever looked up. I didn't care to, I guess. But I do know that the Game of the Year edition comes with Undead Nightmare. Regardless, I popped it into my Xbox Series X. It didn't work, wasn't backwards compatible. I was frustrated, but I didn't really care that much. Like, it was a convenience thing at that point because I always have my Series X plugged in. So I pulled out my 360 Slim, which is the best version in my opinion. It's just great. It works. And I played it on that. It was fun. It felt like going home, pulling out my 360 and playing a full game on it, because I haven't done that in years. It's probably been literally a decade that I've pulled out my 360 and played a game on it. Holding the 360 controller again just felt like home. I felt like I was going home. I jumped in the DeLorean and Doc took me back 10 years, to when I was playing with my 360, right on the verge of the Xbox One releasing, playing games back then, and it was great. And to top it off, I mean, the whole reason I'm even making a video is talking about Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Redemption was great. There is so much that I really, really like about the game. I love the voice acting. It's so good. John Marston, he's awesome. I love the open world, Old West setting. My grandparents growing up, when I was growing up, and even still to this day, they watched a lot of Western films, John Wayne, The Virginian, things like that. So I've always been familiar with Old West stuff like this, but this is my first video game that I've actually played where it is the Wild West, and it's super fun. It's very interesting to kind of teleport back into that time period and go through and live life like that. You don't have cars, so you're constantly riding horses around. There's lots of saloons that people go hang out, and there's also tons of farming. That's kind of the big thing around there. You also have tons of outlaws and people that do stupid things. There's lots of side quests where you're tasked with, hey, my insert relative has been kidnapped and taken out to this place. Can you help me find them? So John Marston is working with the sheriff in town to go help bring these people back. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. In the beginning, I started doing side quests. I actually did all the side quests in the beginning, but as I got like towards the middle of the game, I think when I got to Mexico, I pretty much stopped doing side quests because I was so enamored with the story, like the main story of what was going on, that I wanted to find out more. I wanted to find out what happened in the story. I'm not going to spoil anything because I know I'm not the only one that hasn't played Red Dead Redemption. But regardless, there's lots of really good story beats, and it's like as the story progresses, you learn more about John Marston, because in the beginning he starts out as like an outlaw that a lot of people know about him, some people don't, and he's very quiet about his past. But we do know that he worked with outlaws, and they did lots of terrible, horrible things. So, needless to say, John Marston's kind of been through it. But he's also turning a new leaf. He's got a wife, he's got kids. He's trying to be a better person, I guess. But the morality gets put into play, and as the player, you start to question a lot of things with John Marston. You start to question things with yourself, putting yourself in different situations, thinking like, what kind of decision would I make if I was in this situation, or just things like that. So it's very thought-provoking, I thought anyway. The thing that I disliked the most about this game, and this may just be a Rockstar thing in general, but once again, I've only played 2 Rockstar games up to this point fully, like actually sat down and played them. Red Dead Redemption 1 and GTA 5, which, spoiler alert, I'm doing a video on that on our main channel. Probably will be released in December. Anyway, what I disliked the most about Red Dead Redemption was just how clunky my character moves. Like, moving John Marston, trying to be precise is just not great. It's hard to make sharp turns because your character like has to make this weird wide circle to get turns. Running is a little goofy. Jumping is goofy. Controlling the horse was sometimes a pain. I don't know, just like the controlling of the character, clunky is the best word to describe. And honestly, this wasn't game breaking because I still enjoyed my time with the game and I played all the way through it, but it just wasn't, I don't know, it just didn't feel great. I've played other third-person shooting games like this that just control better, and I will say that GTA 5, although it was made 3 years later, I mean, it is the newer game, that controlled a lot better, but it's still just clunky. Like I said, like clunky, slow, that's how I would describe the movement of the characters in Red Dead Redemption. Other than that, like, there wasn't much I disliked about this game. Like, there's a lot to do, lots of side quests, lots of things to discover. You get treasure maps, you can go find treasure. Like, there's just fun, different things that you can do. and it's enjoyable. The characters are really well written. You do a lot of helping people. You do a lot of hunting down outlaws. You do a lot of shooting. That is like one of the main things you do in this game is you shoot. You get different types of guns. Like you got a pistol, you got your rifle, you get a sniper, a shotgun. So it's like there's no shortage of weapons that you get to use to kill outlaws and bandits with, because that's what you kill until you get into the Undead Nightmare DLC, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, like John Marston as a character, he was definitely my favorite. He's a very gritty, badass outlaw, and it's cool. It's cool to play as him. It's cool to see the world through his eyes. It's cool to discover more about him as an audience member while playing him. So yeah, it's just a fun game. Like you can go out and hunt, side quests, like I already talked about. You got the Bigfoot side quest, which is kind of unique, and at some point the last Bigfoot you go talk to actually talks to you, and you can either kill the Bigfoot or not, but the Bigfoot wants to die because at that point you had killed all of the other Bigfoot, so he or she's literally the last one, so there's going to be no more big feet. So you can either kill that one or not. It's kind of sad and silly all at the same time. But the game, like I said, is really fun. The story really kept me going. There's lots of different characters that John Marston interacts with, good and bad. It's just fun. It's well written. It keeps you on the edge of your seat, wanting to discover more about it. So the base game took me about 15 hours to complete. And then I jumped into the Undead Nightmare, which took me another 6 hours, so 21 hours in total. And I know that's probably on the shorter side of playing through Red Dead Redemption. Like I said, about halfway through the game, I stopped doing side quests. And I probably shouldn't have, because there was lots of good ones, but there were some dumpers too, as with any big game like this. The scope of just having hit after hit after hit, it's really hard to do. Regardless, the main story I felt like was that the entire time, going from clearing out outposts to hijacking trains and the like. Like there's so much going on, so much to do throughout the story of this game. But then there's also quiet moments in between all that where you're riding your horse to the next location. Eventually, fast travel is a thing. Like you can set up a campfire, and you can fast travel to places. You can buy different properties. They're more like rooms that you can buy that you can then go in and save and then resupply with a chest that's there. There's lots of different outfits that you can unlock by just playing the game, doing specific things. So there's, like I said, there's a lot of content here, and especially for 2010, like yeah, this game straight up banger. Then we get into the DLC, the Undead Nightmare, and now it's more Red Dead, but now you're fighting zombies. It's not really canon, so this DLC doesn't really take itself seriously, and I enjoyed it. It's fun shooting zombies. The Red Dead Redemption, the Deadeye, super cool mechanic, really makes you feel like a badass. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's really anything else I wanted to say about this game specifically. I don't really have anything here in my notes, other than like I'm glad I finally got to play through it. I think this game's really good. Does it hold up now? I mean, with the release of Red Dead Redemption 2, which I haven't played yet, I'm going to play next year, but I've heard that game is infinitely better. And I think Red Dead 2 came out either 7 or 8 years later. It's either 2017 or 2018. I'm going to say 2018. I think it was 2018 when it came out. Regardless, like, I mean, you can play Red Dead and still have fun. Like, it's good. It's a good video game. But once again, like the clunky character control, I mean, it's tough, but it's not game breaking. I personally think the game does hold up. Like I played 21 hours of this and I enjoyed my time thoroughly. It was fun. Like it's fun being an outlaw. After 4 or 5 hours in this game, you start talking with your buddies with an old Western accent, and just some of the dialogue and the accents that you pick up on. I don't know. It was fun. It's a fun video game. If you haven't played it, you probably should. It's extremely cheap. And if you have a PC, there's going to be a PC release, which I'm assuming, hopefully, fingers crossed, that it's going to be better than the 360 version. I mean, I never really had any issues. I don't remember anyway with like any frame rate issues or anything. Loading screens are a little bit longer, but like it's when you got a game this size and it's coming about halfway through the 360's life, you know, it's like, I don't know, it's a big game for the time. So anyway, that is Red Dead Redemption and Undead Nightmare. Those are my initial thoughts on it. It was a fun game. I don't think this is a game I will ever come back to and replay. But I am excited to play next year Red Dead Redemption 2, which I've heard is a far better game. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts on Red Dead Redemption. Let me know if there was things that I missed out on. Let me know if you think it is still holds up today. I mean, I personally think it does. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. And as always, keep it rad.